So whether you call it gravel grinding, gravel cycling, mixed terrain riding, it's hard to deny that there is a huge movement and interest in unpaved road riding. But why is it so popular? Is it a response to just marketing hype from the bike industry? Or are there some other deeper reasons? On the YouTube channel and our podcast, I've asked this question multiple times. Why is gravel so popular? With a wide variety of people. Everyone from Jim Cummins of Dirty Kansas, Bobby Wintle from Land Run 100, Guitar Ted, the guy who started Trans Iowa, to Ultra Romance, Sarah Swallow, Andrea Cohen, you name it, and of course, you guys. In this video, I'm going to give you the 5 reasons that I've teased out from different sources about why gravel is so popular and pretty much why it's here to stay. Welcome back, Pathless Peddlers, and if you're new to the channel, if you are into the non-competitive side of cycling, gravel exploring, bike touring, bike fishing, the supple life, you have found your people. And if you love content like this, consider supporting the channel via PayPal and Patreon. Not only do you help the channel grow, but you also get up to 20% off on some really cool brands that we just love. So gravel cycling is a thing. It's hard to deny. And before you rage post on this video and tell me, every bike is a gravel bike, that gravel is just marketing hype. Okay, I've heard it before. Despite all that, people are into it, but why? One of the big reasons, which comes up multiple times, is road safety. You don't have the same volume or speed of traffic on unpaved or gravel roads because it sucks to drive on and therefore makes it a more pleasant experience to bike on. Road cycling as a whole, it's kind of a tough sell these days. It's really being seen as unsafe, lots of high profile cycling deaths. Add to that things like automated cars that run people over and distracted driving. I would much rather climb a steep gravel hill than take my chances on a high-speed paved highway. So another big reason that people cite is that gravel road riding just feels more adventurous and is generally more scenic. Gravel roads tend to go to really wild places, beautiful places with few to little services. So if you want to go on a ride or a bike tour where you feel like you're really getting out there, riding on unpaved roads is a great way to do it. Another interesting reason why it's growing so quickly is because it draws both from the road and the mountain bike segment. In lots of ways, it's kind of mountain biking light. You don't need super technical skills, although it's a little bit more interesting than just constantly spinning the pedals. And on the other side of the spectrum, it does fulfill kind of that need to, throw down the watts and go on a long endurance ride, but is kept pretty interesting because of the varied terrain. So unlike pure road cycling and pure mountain biking, which are both very siloed, this mixed terrain riding is somewhere where lots of people can meet in the middle. So reason number 4 is that there have been some unique enabling technologies that has made riding on unpaved roads that much easier. And a big one that lots of people cite is actually GPS. Gravel road riding can be really intimidating because there are no road signs. And if you're in the West and you're riding on logging roads, they tend to be really circuitous and you could get lost really easily. But with the advent of GPS technology, either on your phone or on a device, it's much easier to not get lost, to discover rides, and to share rides. So GPS is definitely one of those technologies which doesn't get mentioned very often, but the rise of using GPS on bikes and unpaved riding really go hand in hand. Another big piece of this enabling technology is the bikes and tires. Sure, mountain bikes exist and you could ride those in gravel roads, and same thing with a road bike. We've all heard that before, but now there are bikes that are really optimized for this kind of riding. So a little bit slacker than a road bike, a little bit more efficient than a mountain bike. And I would say probably the biggest leap, probably more so than just the frames and geometry, are actually the tires. It used to be that the only tires in the 40 to 50 millimeter width would be, really heavy duty touring tires that put an emphasis on flat protection. So they rolled heavy, felt kind of leaden, and weren't very fun to ride. But with companies like Panracer and Renee Urs, formerly Compass, we're seeing some really cool developments in the tire department. I think that's probably the most important piece of gear that is helping gravel explode. We're getting wider tires that are super supple, that don't roll like lead anchors. And yes, there is a little bit of sacrifice in durability, but they are super fun to ride. So I think tires is a huge part of the explosion of gravel riding. And finally, the final factor that really seems to be contributing to this rise in gravel riding popularity is the culture of gravel riding. Most gravel events tend to be a little bit more relaxed and chill than pure road cycling events. You don't need a racing license. The fees aren't that expensive. Although gravel events are getting more competitive these days, there are still many that appeal to the misfits at heart. Generally speaking, a lot more inclusive than just a pure road event. On the non-event side, I believe this cultural paradigm still exists. People that like to go on long rides, explore on dirt roads, not necessarily wear Lycra all the time or ride flat pedals or whatever bike you want. We call it the supple life. It has many names out there, but this mixed terrain riding really attracts those folks and has finally given us kind of a place, a home, and identity. What do you guys think? Did I leave anything out? Why do you guys like to go on unpaved roads? Leave those in the comments below. And again, if you like this content, consider supporting the channel via PayPal and Patreon. And as always, keep the supple side down.